All right, so we are week 3. We're a week behind, but we're the 3rd week of our Building a Storybrand study. Hi, how's everybody doing? How are you guys feeling like, how are you feeling like you're doing? Are you feeling like your concept on posting has changed since starting the book?
Yep.
Yeah? Good. Laura, how has this been for you, like reading through it a second time? Like, are you kind of like, oh, right, I wanted to do this? Like, are you fine tuning what you'd changed now, or?
Well, I'm definitely finding things that I'm like, oh, I realized that I either forgot or that I can't tweak. Because he talks about the fatal mistake in chapter 6. And I was like, oh, I have to go through and make sure I'm not doing that.
Yeah, for sure. And what I really resonated with that I think was impactful for me, and I would love to hear from you guys as to what you guys feel like you're changing or what has been catching you. But I love the concept, right? First thing, chapter 6. Customers aren't looking for another hero, they're looking for a guide. And how that works so well with Plexus, right? Why are we different? Yeah. Why would someone choose Plexus over something else? Well, other than the fact that I truly believe that we have the more superior products, but Joe Blow on the street isn't necessarily going to know that unless you are volunteering to guide them through this. Like, they get to be the hero, you just get to be the guide. And I think that it works with Plexus so splendidly. So tell me what you guys have been feeling like what have you been changing? What have you been seeing? All the things.
I feel like this is very like common sense, and that it's, as I'm reading it, it's like, well, duh, this is what we do. This is so natural to us, and yet I have to read about it, so I'm a little slow. But the fact that the story's not about us, that has shifted my perspective, because I thought it was, right? I thought me sharing how Plexus has changed my life is how I'm reaching people. But that little tweak of how, right? Like, be the guide, not the hero. And I've tried to be a hero. Oh my gosh. And I didn't realize it, right? Because I thought that's how I share Plexus. So,
but it's obviously worked for you thus far.
Right. Yeah. Like, it's not, yeah, but it's a little tweak that I think will really change or make big changes, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I agree. I did that too when I shared so much about me making me the hero of my story. And now it's like, how do you share your story, but getting it so that, that it relates to them, so they see themselves, in your story.
Right.
Yeah.
So would you have some tips for that, Laura? Because when we share our story, people can connect with it. So do you have specific phrases that you want to add at the beginning or the end? Like, can you see yourself in this? Or I don't know, but so that we are still sharing our story, but it's still, it's reaching, I don't know. Do you know what I'm asking?
Well, yeah. And it talks about that in 6. As we go further, he says that empathy, express empathy, which was huge. Again, a reminder for me. We are kind of expressing an understanding of their pain and frustration, and how then you can position it that how we could help them is what I got from that. Because when we empathize with them, we create that trust. Even with strangers on Instagram, I've been having people just reach out to me, and she says, I follow a ton of Plexus people, and you're the one that I decided to go with because of how you share. And I was like, oh, wow. Okay. Like, that was, yeah. It's people trust that when you understand what they're talking about, I guess. Mm-hmm. Words like we understand or I understand, I'm not sure, maybe Janelle would have more ideas on that.
What, Laura, what was in the post, or what did the person say? Did they elaborate more? Did you ask them more about?
No, because she said she'd been following me for a while, and she just said that she never liked or commented, saw my stories, nothing. And she came out of the blue, and she says she's been following me for a while, and she just said that she liked how I shared. And I've been trying to do that more with them, share a bit of my story, but then also emphasizing, I guess it's questions like, do you want to transform? Do you want to have more energy? Let's do this together. Those kinds of things that maybe, I don't know. She didn't say, but she just said that was how she decided to then enter into Plexus with me.
Well, and I like that because we know there was a magic post that went around, last June.
Yeah.
And it was so funny. I was on a call the other day with our new VP of sales for Canada. And she was like, I looked at the numbers and June was just incredible. And I'm like, yeah, hold on. Let's talk about that, because it was the one post, and the one post created a lot of buzz. It was simple, it was straight to the point, and it got the attention of people who were not interested in reading a whole lot and being connected, like being heart connected. But I think, Laura, what you're saying is the person had contacted you because there was layers built up over time, and then there was an invitation and they responded.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think that's really important too. Like, and that was something that we learned last June on that post, is we do need to invite people into this space. And we do need to invite people differently, because you know what? There are some of those people that did love what we were doing and they stayed, but the gross majority of them took a turn through the revolving door and walked right back out because they didn't have a commitment level. Like their commitment level was -5. They just wanted to.
And the frustrating part is when they tell you that they will commit and they don't even give it 30 days. I don't know how else to position it. I tell them in my things. Some people are just like that.
There are just going to be people who don't want to put in that much work on themselves, right? I have a friend right now that I'm trying to help, and she's been on the product. It's her 3rd month. But there's a lot of challenges here, like a crazy lot of challenges, tons of diagnoses, really unhealthy lifestyle, and we're battling against all of it. And I know we are. There's medications that we're basically, if we find balance between the two and don't gain ground, that'll be a win for me, just because I know how the medications work. And she's saying, well, if I don't feel something by the end of this month, I'm going to cancel. And you're like, but that's not realistic. Let's be honest. Like, if I was your naturopath, I'd be like, yes, don't bother buying them this month, because if you're just going to quit after 3, it's not going to be worth it, right? And so there are those people that they want to commit, but they don't want to commit, right?
Yeah.
And that's okay. We can still service them.
I think part of the problem is that Plexus is often sold as the magic pill, like it's going to fix everything. And I think it needs to be put out realistically that it transforms people's lives over time. And, I'm sharing my personal story. I'm not trying to sell Plexus right now, but I'm trying to help people see my journey so they see that there is hope. But I'm also sharing that I need to take iodine and I need to do these other things. And so I don't really know the answer, but I think that's what turns people off a lot when they get into the company and then they don't have immediate results. Some people do and some people don't. And me, I was doing something at the same time, so I couldn't really tell what was working and what wasn't. But when I don't take them, I definitely notice a difference. And so I know it's doing something. So I think that's something, and I have to say, I've gotten on some of these trainings And the way that people talk, it turns me off so much because they're so, oh, and it did, and it did, and it did. And it's just so cheesy. And I'm like, can't we just be human?
Okay, I have to interrupt you though. You need to come to a convention because then you meet
Yeah.
people and you realize that that's actually how they are.
Yeah.
It's not cheesy. They are actually happy.
It
And I
doesn't come
know
across
it doesn't
that
come
way.
across like that,
At
but
all.
it's like when we get
Annoying.
together, I mean, my husband is such a great example of this. Law enforcement, you know, he's no BS, right? Like he's so funny, right? And all of a sudden the first convention he went to, he's like, hey, I love you. I need a break. I'm like, okay, you just go. Okay, you go back to your hotel room and that's fine. And he's had to like, it's countercultural. It's really, really
It's not
countercultural.
just that, it's cheesy.
Mm,
This group is not like that. And that's why I like this group. But you know,
Oh,
they
I'm glad you
still
like
these
But
trainings.
you
and
haven't seen us at
and
convention.
I can't listen to them because they drive me crazy.
Oh, well,
For a lot of us,
convention,
like, oh, sorry.
I was gonna say convention just, I saw a lot of that and it drew me in because I was like, wow, these are my people. They get me. I love it
But you're
because
not
that's
like
how
that.
they really are. And it's transformed their life so much. You can't help but share. So
No, I'm not talking about sharing. I'm talking about the way of sharing.
what call were you on? Like a
No, I
training
don't know
call?
what it was, but I've tried a few, you know, like you get the messages and you click on them to listen. And I've listened to a couple of them and I can't even make it through those things. So maybe I'm listening to the wrong things. I don't know.
Nikki, what were you gonna say?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, for the magic pill quick fix thing, everything I've seen and everyone I've been in contact with through Plexus is always doesn't position it that way because that's not what it is. And I know for myself, I will say that in posts or when I'm talking privately with people, like, this is not a magic pill, it's not a magic potion, like, you need to do some work so these tools can work with your body.
I think that's good.
But that post last June was I still made that post to try it, but totally
What
different
post were
than
you
anything but I even posted it and I talked to my husband. I'm like, that's really not my style. I don't like to position it that way. And we're like, well, maybe I'll post it and then just take it down, you know? So I tried it out, but that's typically never the angle that I want to take or tell any of my people who are sharing to take, you know?
Yeah.
No, what's the post?
Oh, the post was just something.
What was it?
short. It was like,
Looking for 6 friends who want to shed some pounds or some
who want to,
numbers.
yeah, no, not want to tell me how many pound sign you lose, who want to try my pink drinks for 60 days with 2 free products and tell me how many hashtag you lose. So it could be inches, it could be pounds, it could be whatever. And I mean, with that post, I didn't change how I shared besides that. And I actually said to them, I mean, guys, we need a t-shirt. What do we say? It's not,
Yeah.
it's not magic beans and it's not fairy water. That has been my mantra for 6 years. But you know what? Not every team does that. Not every team goes the gut health, like root core issue, like let's dig into your detox kind of thing, right? And sometimes it shot us in the foot because not everybody is committed to detox. You know, it doesn't matter how committed I am to you pooping your brains out for 3 days while we get it all figured out. If you're not, it's not going to work for you, right? One thing though that I have to say back to our book is that it has really challenged me in length. Okay, so I could blog if I felt like people read blogs anymore. I could blog, but I don't feel like they read them, and so I don't know if I really want to do that. But I can really get into writing and write long things, and afterwards I look at them and I read them and I'm like, that was really good. That was almost a sermon. I could preach that, right? Like, you feel really good about it, and then you look at it from like, I have gone back down and looked at it through the lens of somebody who is ADHD and is just scrolling. They're going to read a little bit from the top and maybe a little bit from the bottom, and they're going to keep going, or they're going to click on the more and they see pages and they're like, no. So I've been really challenged myself to shorten it up and try to give almost the hook at the
Yeah.
beginning so people keep reading, right?
Yeah.
Because I want them to read all the things. But if I can't paint that picture, we had a pastor who used to say, if you can't say what you're going to say in 20 minutes, you don't need to say it. So I want to say, if we can't say what we want to say in like a screen and a half or 2 screens, maybe we need to like do a video or something, right? Where we're engaging people in a different way, because not everyone's going to read it. Even if it's great, not everyone's going to read it. So that has been a huge challenge to myself, because I have so many words. How do I get rid of all the words if I don't write them down? And the people aren't going to read them anyway. Come on. Like, I've lost people however far through, right? So I was really encouraged by the guide concept, because it is who we are, right? And the other piece is, I think, outside of telling your story or communicating the story you want people to hear, is the peripheral stuff, like your stories, like on Instagram or on Facebook, or the other stuff that you share that is still connected with your brand. But it also helps to build belief, so that when you do become the guide, when they choose to put their faith in you as the guide, they will stick with you for further than just like half a block, right? They'll let you guide them longer. And so everything we do is basically creating trust in which guide they want to choose. Obviously, again, I love that the example, Laura, that you gave. Obviously, you were the right guide. Like, you put the stuff out there. They chose you as the guide over somebody else. And that's great.
Yeah.
Because maybe they wouldn't have listened to the third person because they didn't.
Well, and I do have people who go with somebody else. Like, there's one lady right now who I Zoomed with, did a health Zoom with in February. And then I see her all of a sudden commenting on this massive influencer of Plexus's account. And I'm like, yeah, send me more info. I'm like, I'm giving you all the info. So I don't know. I may not be the right one for her, right?
I think it might kind of be like going to a doctor or going to a teacher. You know, some teachers you connect with and some doctors you connect with. And there's doctors I go to that I just don't like, and other people love them. And so I think it's partly the way you communicate, your personality. We click with some people and we don't with other people. And so
I agree.
I'm thinking it's probably good not to take it personally and just keep doing your thing is what I'm getting.
The other thing to add is some people are just fickle. They want to go with the bright, shiny thing.
Yeah.
So
I know. Did you look at the page on 81 about the testimonials?
Yes, I did. That was very relevant to me.
Yeah.
What did you guys think of that? I mean,
I
we've always done testimonials, right? For people to hear things, but
yeah.
I found that for me, it was when I started using this, I started sharing at least a couple of times a week testimonials. And I did what Janelle did. Sometimes I take them and I just shorten them, because people, if it's long, often testimonies are really long and you have to shorten it. Otherwise they won't read it. Yeah. So I found that to be very, 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 very effective before and afters. People want to see that. It doesn't resonate with everybody, but you don't have to do it a ton a week. But I try to aim for about 2 probably a week.
Yeah. Carrie, what were you going to say?
Oh, I feel like this confirms that this book was written for Plexus people, for one thing, because this is what we do. And it just reminded me, I don't know why I wasn't sharing testimonials as much. I felt like my people had to see me. So right away showing that I think I'm the hero again. So this would spotlight Plexus as the hero by showing testimonies, right? And
yeah, I think sometimes too, though, don't you feel like when we initially started talking about building your brand, that sort of translated to like, I need to show up as me all the time and my face needs to be there and, you know, whatever. Right. And so we can kind of get things kind of crossed, right? I remembered seeing, and so I really try, on my Instagram, especially because you can see all of them, right? But on Facebook, you can't see like how many times did you put your face up the last however many posts, right? And somebody had said, unless you are like a person, like a superstar, unless you're a celebrity, they don't need to see your face all the time because they don't relate to that because it means nothing to them. So that's why these home accounts where people are like showing their houses all the time, they really relate to people who are looking for home stuff because nobody is going to like, well, no offense. No one, when they go to Google Nikki Crawford, they're not Googling that Nikki Crawford. It's a different one, right? They should be.
Oh, come on.
Right? But there was something else in here that just struck me on this whole thing of, I'm trying to find it. This whole thing with testimonials.
Well, they're asking themselves, does this brand know what they're doing? And so that was the one, maybe.
It was the part where they were like, would you go to a nutritionist and be like, here are my goals and blah, blah, blah. And the person was like, yeah, I'd like to do that too.
Yeah. Yes.
We make ourselves too relatable. You don't want to be quite that relatable. I'm like, oh, yeah, sometimes we're like, yeah, I'm looking to do that too. But it can be, you can say that, you can be like, I'm still on this journey, but this is what I'm doing, right? Like, these are the things I'm doing that are helping. Like for me, last month, okay, so stupid. So I was taking 2 block twice a day last month. I felt great. My hormones were fantastic. My cycle shortened like crazy. And I was like, what is happening here? Jennifer, just by the way, iodine in the block, doing the things.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Anyway, I don't know if that was really what did it, but my goodness, I was taking enough of it. And I felt smaller. I felt less puffy. I felt like, I don't know on a scale, but I felt like I probably had moved that needle down a little bit, even with intermittent fasting and all those things. I didn't reorder it this month. What? Who does that? Like, what's wrong with me? But that would be something I would share with somebody. Like, hey, yeah, I was taking 2 block twice a day. Felt great.
I really find that I'm loving block. I tried balance because it's from the States and I just want to try them both. Block, hands down. I love it. I'm taking it 2 times a day, usually before my meal, just as a thing. And yeah, I'm feeling so good. Yeah.
I think sometimes we get stuck in our ways. Like, we really like block, and then balance came out. We're like, I don't know what you are. I'll try you for a bit. I'm going to go back to what I like. I don't know. Balance supposedly is like the newer technology, but it doesn't have some of the stuff in it that we like. So,
and I don't use block as okay, now I'm going to eat like crap. I just eat normally, but I'm finding that the chromium really helps. And yeah, like the iodine, and I just feel, I don't know. It just seems to work.
I feel better.
So
I don't understand. I don't have to understand. There, I'll pull a Leona. I don't know why it's working, but it
Chromium is actually really good for your thyroid. A lot of Hashimoto's recommend that you take chromium to help.
Cool.
So your thyroid runs everything.
And it does have chromium in it, doesn't it, Janelle? I think it does. Block.
Chromium is in Slim too.
Yeah. But anyway, chapter 7.
Yep. Hey, and I was like, oh, I have been like so dropping the ball. I haven't printed out their whole brand script thing. It's something I would like to do, but even I just was actually thinking about it. I'm like, yeah, you know what? I'm betting most people didn't do it either, but most of you on the call didn't do it either. But I'm taking so much away from this, and it's just challenging what I think I know. And anyway. Okay, so who gives them a plan? Storybrand principle 4, customers trust a guide who has a plan. And I was like, I think for me, I was like, it would just be so much better if someone redid a graphic.
Keep going.
Getting started just to freshen it up again, right? Or if I would do it the way that I do it, because now I've kind of changed the way that I start people. But I just realized in reading or in listening to this, how impactful having those tools are to show people like it's not just here me in a text to say, right? It's like, here's a graphic. It looks pretty. There's your map. I'll still be your guide, but here's your map, right?
Yeah. I actually laughed when I read this chapter because I'm like the most annoying wife that ever lived. Every Saturday I wake up and I'm like, so what's the plan? I need the plan. What are we doing today? And I'm like, why am I not like that with my customers? I need to be more, what's the plan? Like solidify the plan. And I guess I felt like it was too bossy, but a guide gives the plan.
And
So
I
why
like
am I
that
not?
it has 3 steps too. So it's
Yeah.
really simple,
Yeah.
not complicated.
Yeah, totally. And you
Well,
know,
and Carrie,
plan.
Sorry.
no,
I was gonna say, when we come at it from when you're messaging them, it's all about, I've kind of switched it. It's all about them. So I want to give you a plan that's going to help you succeed. It's up to them whether they take it, but yeah,
well,
Yeah, I
and
like
that's
that.
really,
even in that, that's how I position triplex and, right? Like triplex and X Factor, triplex and ease. Okay, here's what I'm going to tell you. I want you to be the most successful as possible. This is what I would suggest, but you need to make the decision for yourself, right? So you don't want to do
yeah. And I tell them now as I go, this is a starting place. I'm really clear with that now. And that if things aren't progressing the way you want, we will tweak and change so that your body responds, because everybody is different, and it took me a bit to figure out what works. Like heaven forbid, I dropped X Factor Plus in a pandemic. Why did I do that? Well, because I was hoping that when my husband and my son would take it, which they did for their thyroid. Oh gosh, my mental health. It was like, Jeff's like, I don't know what you did, but you need to go back and fix it. So
begging husband, because I think we really discount X Factor Plus. That's the one that Nolan used to be like, and I tell the story all the time. Babe, did you maybe stop taking your X Factor? Like, it's like you try 1 foot out the door, ready to, like, is she going to kill me? Do you think maybe you could
and
show
for me,
how to work?
it's like, I
that
took
was
it
the funniest.
and 2 or 3 hours later, he's like, yep, I noticed a difference.
Nolan's like, could you maybe show me how to order it for you? I just want to make sure. Okay, babe, I'll take my X Factor. I get it.
Yeah.
Loud and clear. Oh my word.
But I think telling people that the plan can change to suit them is okay. I think I saw that as weakness. Like, if I don't start you on the right product, I'm going to lose you. So I have to seem super confident and then not change what we've done. Whereas that's better guiding if you do that, right?
Yeah. Well, and they have to be open to it. I have one lady says, which I never said to her, you said 3 months. I'm giving it 3 months. I'm like, but have you done what I've asked you? No. So, when she's not willing to tweak things and water and different things. So, but that's
it's
really
more
a
than
good
just
point.
it's more than just time passing. It's you doing the things for the 3 months.
Well, and you can't go to McDonald's 3 times a day and expect that the products are going to work. It's already trying to balance out your McDonald's, and now you've, like, I mean, yes, I have treats, but I told her, but I don't have it every day. The coffee with the massive whip, and then,
So, hey, I've got a question for you. Do you all feel like you are a valuable guide for others? Because I think that until we actually value ourselves as the right guide for someone, they won't trust us to do the guiding, right? And that doesn't mean that we need to know all the answers for all the things. It's more of I am empowered to know where to find the answers, and I'll make sure that we get them. But you need to come with me, right? And so I think that seeing your value as a guide is so important to be able to translate that well to somebody else. How are you guys feeling on the value scale?
For me, I think realizing that I'm not everyone's guide does not mean I'm not a good guide for those who trust me. And that's a little mind shift I had to come to.
Perfect. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's incredible. Hey,
Because
Jennifer,
when we,
Jennifer, do you have a hill behind you, or is that the color of your sky?
Oh, I live in the mountains.
That's a mountain?
Yeah, I'll show you. I'll give you a quick tour.
Okay, I can just see through your blind and it looks like it's like ready to just,
blue.
sky is just ready to
Oh,
open
this is Colorado. My husband told me when I met him that the sun shines 360 days a year. I said, no way. But we live above the clouds, so it actually does. But
Oh, wow.
Oh, no,
so
now we got to see.
this is so I'm in this sunroom. I'm trying to get down so you can see.
Oh, pretty. Look at that.
Wow.
Gorgeous. I was
And
just a little scared for you because it looks like when
The
the
mountain is coming down. Trying to get,
stars turn that color, we like take shelter.
that's Colorado Springs.
Oh, beautiful.
And then if I keep going around, this is a sunroom we created, and it's like almost, I guess it's a 180 view. And then you
Oh,
have
nice.
mountains.
You
So-
poor thing, you live like that?
Actually, I complain about it for a long time because it takes me 20 minutes just to get down the hill. And I'm
Oh.
a social person. So I'm like, but in COVID, it's actually been nice because you forget about all the chaos going on. So I'm trying to learn to be content
Just go up to
that I have no matter where I am.
Amy's laughing because it takes her like an hour and 45 minutes to get to civilization. So
Yeah. But she probably picked that. My husband picked this house. So,
I think he did good.
and he won't move. So that's okay.
I actually moved into the house my husband grew up
Yeah.
in.
Oh, wow.
So no picking.
You live in a farmhouse?
Yes.
Have you seen the show Farmhouse Fixer on HGTV? I've gotten addicted to it just recently. I'll have to check it
I
out.
watch a whole bunch of those ones, but I haven't seen that one.
Saskatchewan
Yeah.
farmhouse is not quite the same.
What's that?
Saskatchewan farmhouses are not quite the same. Not quite. Not quite the same.
3-bedroom bungalow with a finished basement. Not quite the same. And your sunroom is gold.
Yes, it's gorgeous. Okay, so to me, when I was looking at this today, actually, my thought, so I was thinking about a post for today, and I was like, okay, how do I do a post on anxiety and keep it short, but make somebody else, like give them space to insert them as the hero, but yet still sharing a testimonial for this. So that's where my brain is at today. Do you guys have you guys challenged yourselves to do a post today on something? Now that we talked about testimonials, Carrie, you're like, hey, I haven't been using them enough. How can we work this in? I don't know.
And you don't have to just do it Tuesday because it
Yeah.
rhymes, right?
Sorry, Jennifer, we used to do testimony Tuesdays. So it would be like Motivation Monday, Testimony Tuesday, Wellness Wednesday, Thriving Thursday, Freedom Friday. So sometimes we got caught in that, oh, I can't post a testimony, it's not Tuesday. Ridiculous.
We have Taco Tuesday at our house, but
Yeah. Yeah.
Carrie's going to be posting all about moving for the next however long. It's going to be a lot of testimonies on ease.
Yeah. And vital biome. Uh-huh. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. I'm going to start giving my dog vital biome. Well, I give him probio, so just maybe the rabbit chase will kind of calm down.
Right. To simmer.
I'm super excited to go to the next chapter after we finish this one, because he ends and he's like, we need to learn how to call them to action. This, I think, is going to be huge for everybody.
That would be the reason I need this book more than anything. Like I can struggle with all the rest, but that's the kicker. Yeah.
Let's wait till 95. Amy, what were you gonna say?
I really love your vital biome question. Like, sorry, that was not the correct sentence structure. The anxiety testimony leading to the introduction of vital biome. Because I actually just had a discussion with my sister-in-law about her son, who's 11. And I said, well, my daughter started taking vital biome like at that age 12 kind of mark. And she's like, how come I didn't know this? How come she's been doing this for 3 years and you're just telling me now? And I'm like, but I did tell you. I thought I told you twice a year for 3 years. But it
didn't resonate.
It all fell into place. So I do feel it was like my growth and my ability to say it in a non-threatening way, not like a you should, but in a this is what we did and it helped.
Well, even just like those short, I've seen one lady and I'm like, wow, she said it. I'll have to put it in the chat. The way she said, she's a picture of her and her, like that cup, the gut help for life. And it was like the simplest, like probably a sentence, because it helps me something, anxiety, age backwards, function. Like there was just a few little things. And why wouldn't you want to do that? And I was like, oh,
I don't know. Why wouldn't I?
It was super quick. And I was like, it's to the point. It's effective. Yeah. You know, like I'll have to find it. But it was so good.
And testimonies are great to post when you don't have a lot going on in your life, or maybe it's just not postable in that moment. Then why not share other stories, right?
Yeah.
Why not?
I like to see other stories because, you know, people might think, oh, Laura, you're a person who goes after things and you don't give up and that kind of thing. But when you see multiple people and various issues, the only thing I wish were in testimonies a little more is the products that people use, just because I'm always curious. I wonder what helped them. I wonder what they're using, especially for kids.
But we don't put that in that for a reason, because then they will message you and then you can, sometimes people don't share it. And sometimes we want them to message us so that we can guide them.
Well, I don't mean for your post. I mean, like, you know, the Plexus product testimonials Facebook page, because that isn't that only really for Plexus people. It's not really for other people. And
it's not our team, but yes, they have that group.
Yeah, because I like to know, I like it when they post what they're using, because it makes me go and look at the product. Oh, I wonder what's in it, and then I check it out. I get why
that one does post. They usually post in there.
Yeah, sometimes and sometimes not. So it just depends.
Yeah, there's some people are weird. Some in my experience, some people are weird. So for example, somebody has lost a whole bunch of weight and they're like, I took Metaburn and I took Active and I took this and that and whatever. And so somebody goes and they just flat out order it without talking to anybody, without saying, hey, I have high blood pressure. I'm on crazy amounts of medication for that. I'm also on this and I'm on this and I'm on this. And I'm really sensitive to caffeine and blah, blah, blah. They don't tell you that because they're just helping themselves. So they order this and they're like, oh, Plexus made me feel like I couldn't sleep for days and blah, blah, blah. And you're like, no, let's take common sense. This is what happens when you put warning labels on things.
That makes sense. I ask stupid questions, but I get the answers. So.
Questions are amazing. And that's why we want people to ask questions. The other thing with kids is that if that testimonial got shared outside and it had a product on it, the company could be in massive trouble, because technically suggest product for kids that is outside of the children's line, even though we all use product that's outside of the children's line for our kids, and it's totally fine. But it is frustrating. I get you too, because I remember being in that space and like, I want that. What is it that you're taking? I want that too.
And
Might I
I'm
just
trying to be very careful what I share when it's kids, so that the call to action would be then they can message me for the protocol, because we sometimes have to be very vague in what we say, because we don't want Plexus to get in trouble.
Yeah.
We don't want to lose our business. And
it's very specific too to the person. And that's what I'm learning as I go along. It's not just one thing. I like hearing, oh, well, I like this and I like that and I like this. And then I'm like, oh, well, maybe I should check that out. Or, I wouldn't have thought of that if I wouldn't have heard that discussion.
Yeah. And try it for yourself and see. I love our 60-day money back guarantee for that. And if you try it, and you can try it different ways and whatever, and you're not going to explode if you try something the wrong way or the wrong time. Like, think about X Factor Plus. If you try it on an empty stomach and you've never had it before, you might throw up. Yep, totally might happen.
Yeah.
Totally, because you didn't do the thing. But you only do that once. And then you'll remember.
Yeah.
And then, hypothetically speaking, you do it again and you just know that you need to have some protein like ASAP. Anyway, I was going to say something that was actually relevant to what we were talking about, and now I'm done. I'm done. Hey,
Okay.
do you
I
guys?
have a question about the book.
Yeah. What?
So, page 77, heroes are often ill-equipped and filled with self-doubt. So, guide, our job is to show them how to use the equipment available and to provide them with confidence.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Yeah. There's also on 77 there too, is the guide, not the hero, is the one with the most authority. Right? And I think sometimes we're afraid to step into that authority and be like when somebody decides to quit on themselves after 3 months or after a month, you'd be like, no, that is not what we talked about. Girl, you remember you wanted to sleep better, and I am here for it. I am here for you. I'm here for the 3-month version of you, right? Nicole, I showed my husband your sleep tracker and he was floored at that, right? What if you'd been one of those people that quit like 2 weeks in, right? Every time we think that we don't have the authority as a guide, we need to like remember stories like that and be like, not today. Nope, not quitting today.
yeah.
There's so much with that
But I
guide
also,
hero thing, Amy, that I just love, like that connection.
yeah, and that's actually another reason why we need to post some of those things like Jennifer and Nicole, like our stories, but we're not just showing our authority, but we're also sharing it with our people, like, so that we can say, I know a person who they have a sleep tracker record. I got to figure out who it is, and I got to remember how to find it, and I got to do all those other things. But it's like sharing our authority with each other.
Yeah, I agree. That's why our community is so important. Because I mean, I see it like, I'm so thankful that there were people that breathed that into me and reminded me that I had value and I could step into that kind of authority with people and be a little bossy, but do it through love, right? And then I get to come and do that with other people as well and be like, hey, you know what? You need to step into that for other people because someone is waiting for you to show up as their guide, right?
Yeah.
I was thinking about the people who quit Plexus. They may quit, but they may come back again.
It happens over and over. I actually just have a friend she's lost 14 pounds now since January. And she messaged me the other day. She goes, oh my gosh, I can't eat chocolate. I was like, oh, tell me about that. She's like, I tried it and I felt so sick. Yes, thank you, Plexus. But she left 4 years ago to go to another company that had a similar thing and was offering more of like, Jennifer, like what you were saying, the magic pill and, all the things. And she didn't find what she was looking for there. And she came back.
Yeah. Well, and I have a story with, sorry.
Yeah.
It's, one of my dear friends actually signed up probably 3 years ago with another ambassador who wasn't necessarily close to her, but she went there, tried it, quick fix, nope, didn't work. She kept telling me over the years, it just doesn't work for me, it doesn't work for me. And it was finally my intermittent fasting stories that got to her. And I got her not on the triplex, she's on Slim, Block, and MetaBurn. And that is the magic thing for her hormones and for her body. And she's magically, well, she's intermittent fasting, but she's doing amazing. She's lost like 15 pounds in like a month and a half. Like, and she's just dedicated to it. And she's like, and now I don't know why this wasn't, I said, this is why we tweak, because the triplex is going to help your gut. Do you have this, this, and this? And she's like, no. I'm like, well, then it wasn't the right combo.
Yeah. And maybe some people aren't ready to be the hero yet.
Yeah.
Not at that place. And so even if you guide them, if you think about athletes, there are some athletes, they want it. And so they go after it, even if they're not that talented. And so I think we have to let people be where they're at too.
You are very right. You are very right. And I think like we need to be, we put ourselves in a really vulnerable position in what we do. And that's okay. But we need to realize that it is what it is. Like people, like Brooke Hemingway says, people are quitters. It doesn't mean you need to be, but generally people are quitters. And it's just a thing. So sometimes people are going to quit on themselves, and we can encourage and we can do all the right things, right, as the guide, but you can't make them move forward if they are just wanting to quit, right? So hopefully they choose to come back, hopefully, and that's why the layering of the stories and the continuous sharing, right? And I look at I think once you've been doing this for a long time, you start to think, hey, I'm just repeating myself. Like people have heard this, people have been there, done that. Like even as a leader, they don't need to hear this again. And then Carrie says something like, okay, how did you just figure out remember we were on the Power Hour and I Googled something and you're like, hey, I need to know how you just did. I'm like, I didn't do anything. Like I Googled something, and that's it. But we devalue what we do and what we know and what we can share. And then we just don't share it because we think that it's dumb and people have heard it already. So that falling in love with repetition is really a huge part of what we do. And now I've thought about this and I need to figure out how this would work out. But I think it would be really neat if a person decided like on their calendar and you're like, okay, this week I'm going to talk about this. And this week I'm going to talk about this. And this week I'm going to talk about this. And like everything that you pull, like your stories and your Instagram, your whatever, all have to do, say 1 week with anxiety. And you're going to talk like a whole bunch about anxiety. And then you're going to talk the next week a whole bunch about this. Or you could even mix it all up so that you still had 4 constant themes for a month that you were going around in. But then you figured out, Carrie, that's like leveling up your social schedule.
Super leveling up. That's like TED Talks on crack. I don't know. That's a great idea.
Mel hasn't had her slim and active yet today, so my ideas are coming out discombobulated. But
actually, I had thought about the same thing because I had thought about starting a very short blog, not a long blog, because I don't read long blogs. I don't actually read blogs, so I'm trying to figure out, is that the right thing for me? But there's a lot of people who do. So
are there? Could you tell me, like, there are people that read blogs? Maybe I need to start one. Maybe you and
I think there still are, because there's still blogs out there. But I think a lot of people listen to podcasts and stuff. But what I was going to say is I was thinking it would be nice to have a topic for a week and you share things, but also you invite people to send you questions and you invite discussion. So it's not just about you spilling out the information. It's about, let's talk about this as a community. And I like that idea myself.
I wonder how that would work on stories.
I don't know.
Like the question box. I want to talk about anxiety this week. What do you want to know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. With
I wonder if you
There's
do
like-
that almost
sorry.
every day for 5 days and put that same box up, or something similar to a question box about anxiety.
Well, I was thinking of doing it the week before. So you say, next week, we're going to talk about anxiety and send me the things you want to know more about or interested in, or something like that, because then, you know, they're not on the spot. They can think about it and send it to you, but it could be more of a private message thing, I'm thinking. But then during the week, people can post, oh, I was thinking about this, or I was thinking about, oh yeah, and I found this, and because I'm on this gluten-free group for Colorado Springs, and this woman who's in the group, we learn about restaurants, we learn about issues people are having, and they come and ask questions. And then sometimes someone will post something they found about something that has gluten in it, like a local restaurant that everybody thought was gluten-free. And so it's a very helpful group. But then one day this woman said, this is my story about gluten-free. And then all these people started sharing their stories, and it really opened up the whole community, and people were sharing things about what they had done and their experience. And it was really, really nice. It made the group even more close, I would say. So I don't know why I said that. But.
You should look for stories, though. It would be very interesting. You should look for stories, plexus wise, on people who have gluten sensitivities. I'm not going to say celiac, but who have gluten sensitivities, who now don't have, but people who don't have reactions when they get trace amounts. So for example, Sheila Cron is, I don't know if she's actually celiac or what she is.
I think she is, yeah.
Yeah, but she has gotten cross-contaminated and not had anything happen because of her gut healing. Now, she's also had things where she's had a massive, like, I don't think that was just a contamination. I think her meal just ended up not being gluten-free. And she was so sick. But she'll tell you that she's nowhere near as sick as she used to be. It's just so interesting. And Carrie taught me something about gluten-free. Carrie taught me that if you are sensitive to gluten, you shouldn't use paper straws, because paper straws contain gluten.
Actually, I've been reading, my friend told me that, and I've been reading a lot of things that said it's not true.
And I have one friend who got really, really sick, and then she researched it and found that was the reason. Maybe it's certain companies, hey, or maybe it's certain.
Yeah, I don't know, because my friend told me that, and I'm like, I'm going to research this. So I started looking at it, and there were a million articles that said, is there gluten in paper straws? And there were all these ones that said, no, there's not. But they said there could be, because it could be produced in a factory around gluten. So I'm not really sure what the true story is, but if someone gets sick from it, that's, you know.
Yeah, I know. It's like, where do you go for answers anymore? Because if I'm a company selling you a straw, I'm probably going to promote articles that say they're good and fine for gluten-free, right? Anyway.
Who cares? Just save the turtles.
That's right. That's right.
Just stick with plastic. I hate the paper straws. Just put that out there.
I feel like I need to start carrying my own straw.
Yeah.
I'm
A plexus straw.
I use stainless steel at home.
Yeah.
And it's so much
My
better.
stainless steel ones are too short for my cups, so.
You know, go on to Amazon, because there's a lady that my friend knows, and she makes these really tall cups, and they sell these tall straws.
Oh, you should tell me what the name is of that lady. You should send me a message with.
I will find out. It's actually my future sister-in-law, her friend. So she gave me some.
Plexus people are crazy about cups. We really are. We're nuts about water bottles and cups. It's just a thing.
Yep.
Anyway, okay.
Love
So
mine.
stop the recording. It's ridiculous. Can we do 4 chapters for next week? Can we get ourselves that far along? Is that possible? I don't want this to be the book that never ends. If it's not possible, we can just keep plugging through. I just figured that then, or we could just do let's do 3. Let's do 8, 9, and 10. And then the next week we're doing 11, 12, 13, and we'll be done.
Well, we should probably do 11, because then section 3 starts. Shouldn't we end on a nice? I'm sorry.
Can you tell us that we need to do 4?
Listen, I'm sorry, but I also have to move, and my mom's coming, and I got things going on. So whatever you think.
Yeah,
it's all good.
sure. We can do that.
Sounds good. So 4 chapters? 8, 9,
Yes,
10.
because then we just go into the last week of section 3 and then we're done. Yeah, perfect.
Okay,
8
Awesome.
to 11.
awesome. What were you gonna say?